Last week, I brought you a few moments from a conversation I had with Mel Gibson about the loss of his home in the LA wildfires and how the experience has prepared him even more to begin work on his sequel to The Passion of the Christ, The Resurrection. Well, tonight, I bring you an interview I did with Mel about his new thriller, Flight Risk, starring Mark Wahlberg. It's #1 at the U.S. box office, and he discusses that long-anticipated sequel to The Passion. Here's my exclusive interview with Mel Gibson.
I never flew a fugitive before.
Government witness, not a fugitive.
Ready to go?
Is it always this bumpy?
You get used to it. Moretti is very disappointed in you, and he wants you dead.
Oh, shh.
We've been compromised.
Tell me how to fly this thing.
Pay attention. That's the good part.
Damn it!
I'm gonna enjoy this. You ever see a face turn this color before? Huh? I'm gonna tear you apart. Y'all need a pilot?
In an age when people are turning in 3-hour epics, you decide to do this tight thriller. Why?
Because I can't sit there that long. I'm getting old joints, and the seat actually turns my bum numb, so I have to, I can't deal with it. So I just making a film for an audience that doesn't want a numb butt. So
That's
it's
a
like
good start.
85 minutes without credits, I guarantee. But 85-minute tight little action thriller. It's what we need after all these hours-long epics.
Anytime the audience starts thinking about, what do I have to do when I leave, you know you're in trouble. And I watched some of these epics over the last few months, and your eyes go dry, and you can feel the audience pulling away. But this is not that. This is a tight thriller, and we have not seen, you haven't really done one of these.
Not really.
A thriller like this.
No, and I saw the initial script, and it's just like, wow, that's got all the makings of a tight little thriller.
Yeah.
And so I said, let's go. And I sat with the writer, and we...
What did you ask him to change?
Oh, a bunch of stuff, some character stuff, some story beats, and he was it was already a good script, you know.
Yeah. Give us the through line. What happens here? There's a federal agent transporting a witness for a case.
That's right. He's going to testify against some, bigwigs and corruption and stuff like that. He wants to make a deal. She puts he doesn't really want to get caught. He's trying to avoid being captured, but he gets caught at the beginning, and then he says, "Okay, I'll make a deal. Just don't hurt me," And he's put on a plane from some remote area somewhere in Alaska where he's hiding out to fly him back, and it's like a 75-minute flight to hit the deck, and we find out on the journey that the pilot isn't who he says he is.
He has ulterior motives.
Yes, he does. His motives are not very
And
high-minded.
that's Mark Wahlberg, and we want to talk about that character in a little bit. But
yeah, Mark, insane. Insane.
It's a wild performance.
Mark is insane.
Yeah.
That's in him someplace.
This is a very dark Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Antic Mark Wahlberg that we really haven't seen very much of in recent days.
Yeah, frantic, antic, manic, deeply disturbed man who's like, wants you to think he's the normal one and that you need to adjust. But it's a good.
Who made the decision to shave poor Mark's hair? He's bald in the movie.
That's all Mark.
Really?
We were about to get shooting, and I was really, excited to get going. And Mark said, "I got an idea." I said, "How about I do it like where I'm wearing a rug and and I'm bald?" And I said, "Whoa, give me 24 hours to think about that, Mark." It's hilarious and kind of great. I think it. And then I slept on it, and I woke up and I said, "That's genius."
It worked out.
It worked out great.
How long was this shoot, Mel? This is a very short shoot.
It was like 22 days, and that's harrowing. But this is the way films are made these days, and a lot of the young directors, and in fact almost all directors, are put under this kind of pressure cooker thing, like you deliver and deliver quickly in 22 days, because we ain't living in the same world anymore. And the question is, in that amount of time, can you deliver something of quality? Because filmmaking it's a very intense and it requires a lot and requires a lot of time.
How much pre-production time did you have on this movie?
I don't know, 5-6 weeks.
The whole industry has really changed. I mean, they're requiring you all to turn in product with less and less time. How do you do that as a filmmaker, though, and not embarrass yourself?
Well, this is the trick. I think you have to, planning is essential. You have to know what you're doing to begin with. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And so you get less time, which means less money, or sometimes it's less money, which means even less time. And you have to try and achieve excellence, given the and these are right across the board in the industry now. They want it faster, they want it cheaper, they want it, and economically, it's a smart thing. And there is an art to delivering something of quality at a budget.
At a brisk pace.
At a budget, yeah.
How do you plan that as a filmmaker? Where do you go to say, this is what we're leaving in, this is what needs to go, with the time I have it on hand?
No, absolutely, and you have to be thinking way ahead. I mean, there's the edit. The edit is a great editor who actually worked on this.
Yeah.
His name is Steve Rosenblum.
Who also edited Braveheart.
Braveheart, yes. And he said to me one time, the edit is the final rewrite. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. He's right. And how do we maximize time, money, effort? We make those edits beforehand because there's a rewrite. So you make as many edits as you can and you restrict what you absolutely need. And because there's a lot of waste, time is money, money is, it's like so.
Sure, you really only shoot what you need. You don't do a lot
Pretty
of
much.
excessive shooting.
Not a lot of fat there.
But the constraints of this had to give you pause, Mel, at the beginning.
Sure.
90% of this movie is in the hull of a plane.
Yes.
A little plane.
That's right. It's a Cessna 208.
How did that change, your approach to this and what you thought you could do there? How did you prep for that?
Sure. Well, you're confined. Not all the time. The beginning is open, the end is open, and you've got outside the plane, which is phenomenal vistas over the Alaskan Alps. So you've got all this going on, but you find that the canvas that you've got is much smaller, so you have to use finer strokes, and you have to make it epic, given what you've got. And I think, I think we pulled it off.
I think you did. I mean, it's an amazing. This thing keeps topping itself. I mean, it moves, it moves, it moves, it tops. But I was stunned when you told me how tight that plane was. You bought a buck. You basically bought a piece of a plane.
Yeah, I bought a real aircraft, and that was not in service anymore, of course. And you use the inside of it. We had I think it was 5'7" wide by 4.5 feet tall, 3 characters. Some big, Mark's a big guy.
Yeah.
Michelle's, she's a tall and slender waif of a thing, and Topher, of course. So there's these 3 actors working in this confined space with camera guys, sound, light, everything, and so one has to be judicious about the shot list, and you have to shoot as diversely and as new in every setup as you possibly can.
Why not shoot in a bigger aircraft?
Because I kind of like the idea of claustrophobia, and that these people are trapped in this little,
They can't get away from each other.
it's a death trap over this wilderness of the Alaskan Alps. Even if they survive the crash, they'll get eaten by a polar bear.
Tell me, did you storyboard this? You had to lay this out visually.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think the best indication of what gave us the best indication of where to go and how to do it was to actually get inside the space itself, and set up camera angles with doubles and stuff like that to find out what works, what doesn't, and it was just a very informative exercise. That's better than storyboards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many things you can do in that space, but we did all of them.
Incredible.
Whatever we could think of.
As I watch this, and I mean, I see it in all your films. I mean, even Apocalypto, even The Passion. Humor is really the superpower of Mel Gibson as a director. You find these human moments of levity to break the rhythm, if you will, and reset the whole thing.
Absolutely. You have to undercut a lot of the heavier stuff with some stuff that is relatable, because as soon as you see behaviors that you are familiar with, that you can relate to, they're instantly kind of charming and amusing. And all the characters found those little moments. And of course, we devised some so that there were little breaks in the momentum of like what should be the flow. It's just all of a sudden you're going down some weird side street of like bizarre, kind of, which is like kind of like it always amuses me when I see things like that. And I've seen films that do that very well. There's some very many,
Yeah.
And
Well, this was Hitchcock would do it too. He'd have little, hilarious.
Hitchcock
little
was never
asides.
serious. He was tongue in cheek about the whole thing.
Exactly right. This plays almost like all great thrillers. It is like a morality play in some ways. Was there any
Sure.
appeal in that to you, that justice is served?
Justice gets served. People with flaws, they learn something. And essentially, I think it's kind of like a buddy movie between
you mentioned that.
between
Why?
two of the protagonists.
Why do you say that?
Well, they start off at odds. They couldn't be more different or apart in their philosophies or in their character, and they don't like each other much. And when presented with an adverse situation, they have to become a team. They have to do it, or they're not going to make it. So there's this kind of like, and it's got a good emotional underpinning too, which is nice. You know? So
No. The movie it plays on multiple levels, and again, it's tight. I couldn't believe how quick the movie went.
Oh yeah, you're out of there. You're like, hey, what happened? Is that over? Yeah, great.
What do you want people to take away from the film?
Entertainment, man. Just like have fun, and if there is a moment where you get misty, that's okay.
Speaking of getting misty, 20 years later,
Oh yeah, 20.
you are now turning to the resurrection.
That's it. Yeah, the resurrection now.
Where are we? Where are you?
It's kind of pre-production stage now, and we're definitely on it. It is my focus, and it will happen. It's like childbirth. It's like it's been 20 years, and it's like it was an idea I had, to do the next part a long time ago, but it's been a very long labor.
Why do you think it's taken all this time?
Because it's supposed to take all that time, and there's something it is telling me how and when, and I've just placed its development and its formation in the hands of Providence.
I was just about to ask you, do you think it's providential the way this is unfolded?
I think so.
The timing of it.
And the timing is not my timing, but it is timing, and I think there's something bigger at play here. And I think I'm just going to try and just ride that and take, pry my own fingers off the steering wheel and let Providence take a hand.
This is sort of what happened with The Passion. It went its own way as you were doing it.
That's right, yes. It just had its own kind of journey. I was merely a component, merely an instrument, and I'm trying to be that again and not think I'm bigger than my boots or anything else. I just want to be of service in telling this story the best way it can possibly be told, to entertain, to educate, and to enlighten people, to lift them, and this is what I want to do with it.
Yeah. Well, all your work does that.
Yeah, let's hope so, yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
Great.
Cheers.